Hello. How are you this morning? I'm here. I got my Maid-Rite hat on. You betcha. I was happy to run across this at one of them, consignment shop type thing. Well, it's actually the Catholic ladies run this secondhand shop, and they call it the rectory, and people donate stuff, but used to be a Maid-Rite in town when I was younger, and had those loose meat sandwiches, and they were good, but that's long gone. I'm not sure where you can find a Maid-Rite now. There was one in Des Moines at the mall, that Merle Hay Mall in Des Moines, but it's closed up since, and like I say, I'm not even sure where a person could get oh, pardon me. You know, I'm blessed with these allergies, so it's not a real blessing. It's more of a curse, you know. I kind of wish I didn't have them, but I just had to live with them my whole life now. And since I got off on the subject of allergies, well, my grandma, she had allergies, and hers got better as she got older, but mine haven't seemed to have done that, so I can't, like if I went to grain bin and leveled the grain out, the dust in there, I'd be sick for 2-3 weeks after being in one, and when I worked for the big farmer, I told him that I was driving a truck for him, so I wasn't really, I told him that I could never get in one, that I'd be sick for a long time. I'm not sure he quite believed me, but, I was telling him the truth. That's the truth of the matter. And my brother-in-law had a hog confinement unit. It's been a number of years ago, and I went in it for 5 minutes, and I was sick for a couple of weeks because of the dust, the hog dust, and just kicked my allergies up like mad. It was not a good, experience. And here, no, it's been probably 4 or 5 years ago that we needed to redo some of the CRP, their midterm management. You're supposed to burn it off, but since we were in a drought, we were approved to disc it. And of course, my mom, I told Mom I could do it, In fact, I kind of enjoyed getting on a tractor and doing that. And she says, well, no, you better not do that. That might kill you. And I'm going, Mom, I'll be all right. So I got on the H farm all, and by the time I'd got about 6 acres dissed, my eyes were swelling shut. The allergies were kicking up real bad. And so I thought, well, I'll come in the house and take a shower, and that'll wash the stuff off of me and I'll be okay. So I did. I came in and took a shower, and my eyes just kept swelling more shut. And I thought, well, maybe I ought to get in the pickup and go to town before my eyes get so bad I can't see, swell completely shut. And so I went in, and my wife works in the hospital there. I went in to see her, and she took a look at me, and she says, "You get over to the doctor right now." So I went over. They have the medical clinic there at the hospital, and I went in there, and of course they took me back into a room, and then I started having an attack. I'd been having these attacks where, just, oh gosh, I'd feel sick and just, shaky and not good at all. And the doctor was in there when I started having this, and he called a nurse in to take my blood pressure. And well, my blood pressure, when the first time she took it, was like 80/70, which that's not good, I guess. I'm not a doctor or medical professional, but that, and she says, well, that can't be right. And she's retaking it again, and it's not doing real good. And so I ended up then in intensive care there in the hospital with hooked up to heart monitors and stuff, and I think that's brought on by my allergies. That's, people don't realize how serious this stuff can be at times, but anyhow, yeah, I think Mom was a lot closer to right than I was. That might kill me, going to the field and the dirt. I can't stand the dirt. It's real, like, what is that? Debilitating. It's been something that's hampered me my whole life, and it's kept me from doing certain things on the farm that most people get along with. I did manage to do a lot of stuff, though. I mean, I remember watching my buddy's dad combining beans on an old Massey Ferguson combine that had no cab on it at all. And he was sitting there on the operator platform in a cloud of dust. And me, I couldn't do that. I could not have run that combine, but we bought a combine, and bought a 503 International, and I went in the cab with several tubes of that good silicone caulk, and that clear stuff. It's good stuff, and an old inner tube, and I sealed up every crack and everything so that nothing could get in that cab. And then I took and stacked like 2 car air cleaners off of the engine, the big round ones. There was a fan that blew into the cab, and I put them air cleaners on there, and that blew right on me. But then I took the heater core out of an old car and attached it where the air blew into the cab, So I had a valve that I could turn that heater core on. And so I had heat, but I didn't have air conditioning. But see, I couldn't run the combine with the windows open or anything. I've seen neighbors going along combining with the door open and windows open, but I couldn't do that. I had to have clean. And when I'd stop the combine and I'd shut the mechanism off, I'd wait for the dust to blow away until I opened the door. I had to be careful about that kind of stuff. So then later, the old 503, it was getting in bad shape, and it was starting where them last several loads of corn on combine, it was trying to throw the corn out and keep chunks of cobs and which, it needed a lot of work on the grain tables and stuff. And so we ended up trading that on a 915 International, and that had air conditioning, which I enjoyed. So we'd upgraded. So, and I did the same treatment on the cab head. I sealed up everything, so it was nice and clean in there, and it was a good trade because that 503 was a 6-cylinder gas combine, and at the time, boy, that thing just sucked the fuel. You couldn't afford to run that thing now, as much fuel as that sucked. It probably burnt 10 gallons of gas an hour. I mean, it was bad. And I noticed the difference in the fuel economy because the 915 had that turbo diesel, and it was so much more economical to run, and it didn't take hardly any diesel fuel compared to the gas that the 503 took. Plus, I had the air conditioning, and, which that was, I was happy with that. And then I put a stereo in it and stuff, which made it kind of nice. And I do ours in a custom combine, for other farmers. And I know I was combining for one farmer, and he was a guy that always wanted to get it done. I mean, he didn't want you to stop when you pulled in the field. He'd bring you out lunch just so you wouldn't have to stop to eat, So you always got well fed there anyway. And anyhow, I was combining beans, and it was warm out, and well, the air conditioning compressor, it threw the rod out through the side. Had a little rod in there and a little piston, and so it shelled out, and there went my air conditioning, and so he says to me, you can just keep right on combining without that air conditioning. And I told him, well, when the air conditioning quits, so does the combine. So I went home, and I had a Ford car sitting there that, we didn't drive anymore. And it had the same kind of air conditioning compressor that the International Combine had. So I pulled that compressor and went down and put it on the combine, and I filled it up with Freon, and I was back combining. It didn't take that long, But the same thing I told a guy that owned a truck I was driving years later. When the air conditioning quit in that truck, he said, well, you can keep driving the truck without air conditioning. And I told him, I said, well, when the air conditioning quits, so does the driver. That's what I said. So he got the air conditioning fixed just right then and there then too. So, but I needed my air conditioning because, I can't stand to be in the dust. It's a medical issue with me, so that's, anyhow, it's been, it's kind of a real pain, you know, having to deal with that. And I'm on medication, and, you know, that helps it. But still, I still have to be kind of wary of what I'm doing. You know, I'm real allergic to grass, so I don't really mow much grass. If I mow with the tractor, which my wife doesn't run the tractor, but then you know, the neighbors probably think I'm half crazy because if it's a nice breezy day, I can go mow and get along fine. I just head the nose of the tractor into the wind, and then I mow, and everything's blowing behind me. And then I'll get to the end of the field, and I'll shut the mower off, and sit there a few minutes and wait for everything, make sure everything blows away, and then I drive back to the opposite end of the field with the wind at my back, and then I'll mow back into the wind again. But that's how I can do it, since I don't have a tractor with a good cab or anything now. So my brother thought maybe I should build a cab on the H and put an air conditioner in it and stuff. So I don't know. It could be a good idea, you know. But I've seen people that's made homemade cabs, you know, on those tractors, and it does work. So anyhow, that's my life. That's how I do it. Well, have a good one. Thanks for listening. Bye.